Hi guys, it's Marcos again. Like I promised you, if you remember, last time I think can't remember, it's episode 2. There's a video that I did where I was giving you just a rundown of what happened since we started with this project, Promedical project or Promedical Primary Cooperative project. So let me just go back a little bit to brush up on the hospital side of things. I promised you that I will do a series of videos, and I won't disappoint you. I'll cover all the topics that I need to cover in various business activities that actually we were engaged in all along. And I hope that these videos will assist you in understanding the business of Promedical as a cooperative. And I hope that it will assist you in participating better in the meetings, especially the meeting that is coming. And please don't be disappointed by the fact that we had to postpone the meeting last time. I stated the reasons. Our meeting definitely on the 11th, it won't be postponed. I told you that there was a new development that came up, which really got me very, very interested. And in fact, I decided to throw everything into the new development. It's actually about a founder that I have been chasing for years. In fact, I've been talking to these guys for years. It's one of the big funders that I've been talking to. And they called me to a meeting quickly, and I rushed there, and we had a very good short meeting, and they decided that they wanted to work with myself and the organization that I'm leading, which is Promedical, and to assist in the acquisition of application and acquisition of licenses. I'm not going to go back there, but let me just give you a quick feedback on that one. I've submitted all the documents that they needed from my side. Of course, Promedical documents, because that's what I represent. I represent Promedical. And of course, a little bit about myself. And then I'm just waiting for one thing now. And I hope all is good. I'm just waiting for the approval of the deal. Just to give you an idea, should the deal be approved, what it simply means is that now we are going to be in this business relationship where they build a hospital, we go in, we operate and manage the hospital. Basically, we then own the hospital. And then in this instance, they want to own the license, which is not the problem. For me, license is just a piece of paper. As long as we have, of course, someone can argue that, yeah, but that license is business because we cannot operate the business without a license. I understand. But relationships are structured differently, and probably this relationship will be one of those that are structured differently. Sometimes you own the land, you don't have a license. Sometimes you have both the license and the land. Sometimes you have only the license, you don't have the land. And sometimes you have both and you don't have the money. So that's why I'm saying these things can differ from time to time, and they are obviously handled differently depending on the circumstances. Now, on that one, to me, it's exciting. I don't know about you, because it's something that I've been fighting for. I've been fighting for the ownership of hospitals and management of hospitals by the healthcare professionals. From the first day I started practicing medicine, I hated to see a situation where healthcare professionals are being told by other people who are not at their level. That I hated, because I don't understand. I mean, we don't tell the judges what to do. We don't tell lawyers what to do, but we have everybody wanting to tell us what to do and how to do things. And that I hated. I never liked it. In fact, I never even enjoyed working in private hospitals. I worked in many private hospitals as an anesthetist. And at times I used to work as a casualty officer. And I hated it every second. I loved the patients, but I just hated the environment. because to me, it was a very, very stinking, toxic environment, because I just felt like you know, somebody's property all the time. And I knew that, with all the qualifications that I have, all the dedication, experience that I had, and I was giving everything, I knew that someone was looking at me as just a tool, um, something that is bringing money to him. So when he goes every day to play golf. But anyway, let me not talk too much, else I'll make this video too long. So, guys, I had told myself one thing. Like I told you, that there are opportunities that we have opened up, but unfortunately, the opportunities that we opened up, they need money. And without money, of course, those shares that we negotiated everywhere they are, and then they'll just stay where they are. And probably, until something happens. But I'm sure one day something is going to happen. Negotiations were done. Particularly, the Mukhwase project has been parked because obviously, if we want to participate there, certain things will have to happen and happen differently. But in my heart, I still feel that we were invited by a friend of mine, a guy that I like most and I respect most, Dr. Mkwani. So we'll wait until we see if things play out differently. But for now, I think it's better to just park and focus on other things until we hear from him and the other people in the management. I told myself one thing, that for now, in fact, up until I was called by this funder, I had told myself that perhaps it is very strategic and about time that probably Promedical starts looking at other businesses or other business opportunities that we always had on our table. And then one of the businesses that I was looking at was to look at an alternative to actually owning hospitals. And one can argue and say, yeah, well, that's almost like giving up. No, that's not giving up. It is what we call strategic retreat. When you are basically changing your tactics, and then you take a backseat a little bit and review the situation, and then attack again. And that approach is that I said to myself, and which is what I'm going to be probably motivating for even in the meeting and moving forward, is that in the absence of us owning the infrastructure like we always wanted, either we wholly own or we are part, where we have bought shares or whatever. In the absence of that happening, there's another way of doing things, and doing things a bit differently. It's not well known by many people, but some of us who have been in this kind of business, we have learned a lot, and we know that that's another option that we have. And that option is that we can actually manage, and if we specialize and we focus. I mean, you remember that Promedical has got all the healthcare disciplines. I mean, we even have a big network of GPs within Promedical, and we need to strengthen that part of Promedical, increase our network of GPs, and increase the network of specialists. In fact, we need to have a national footprint. The reason why I'm saying that, if we have a national footprint and we cover all the disciplines, then what it means simply means is that we're in charge of the management of the patient. So we manage the patient movement. Remember, our first prize at all times is to provide the patients the best and what is actually affordable, sustainable, and good for them. And the only people who can provide good, sustainable healthcare services to patients is us. Yeah, it's not the hospital. Patients are not treated by the hospital. Patients, they see us as healthcare service providers, as healthcare professionals. They see us first before they can go and kiss any other person, they first start with us. And we are the ones who actually manage that situation. Now we've got to be good at that. So that's an alternative to actually owning healthcare infrastructure. We can actually be good and of course we are experts, but we just become very, very good in managing patient movement. Now, how do you do that? Of course, patients, they come and see us because patients, they won't enter any door without us indicating to them what is going to be good for them and where they should be going and who's going to assist them there. And usually, almost all the time, it's us. Now, when we do that, what it simply means is that we then are able to decide that for the service to be affordable, sustainable, and with quality and with good outcomes, and then these patients will do well in this particular facility. So it means we decide the facilities. Of course, we always talk to our patients, make sure that we have the same common understanding, in terms of what we're trying to achieve at the end. And once we have that, then we're able to negotiate with selected, and here I'm going to be very frank, selected and preferably Black-owned private hospitals. Selected, Black-owned private hospitals. I already have names in my head right now, and I hope that you also have some couple of names. We have to do this because the lines have been drawn. The lines have been drawn on the sand, and these lines have been drawn along racial lines. I will tell you a short story what happened to us at Ahmed Katrada in Lenasia when we're doing a road accident fund patients. We're doing trauma there. And we used to fill up the hospital, fill up the ICU. We're the busiest doctors there who were doing trauma there. And those guys, those Indians there, it was just one day. And then they had a meeting and they said they were enough of us. They were tired of us. And they decided to invite us to a meeting. When we asked for an agenda, they said, no, we'll hear it in the meeting. But then I already knew that they really hated the idea that we were actually almost taking over the hospital. And that's nonsense. We're not taking over. In fact, we're giving them patients because we're going there. We're not even on the call roster. We're not interested in being on a call roster. We're going in there to operate the patients, and then we go. And we had a very good working relationship with their trauma surgeons there. They were, getting a lot of business from us. Everybody was getting a lot of business from us, and even the hospital was benefiting. But what they hated was that here are these Black guys, or the so-called niggers, or, these Africans. They are here now, and then they are busier than us. In fact, at some point, they wanted to share patients, our own patients. They wanted us to give them some of the patients to operate. And we didn't understand that because there's always an ethical rapport that is created between a patient and a doctor. And for a doctor to, without any valid reason, to hand a patient to another doctor when actually the patient was admitted by you there, and worse, you are available, you are not sick, you are not in an overseas trip, you are just around, you are there. Somebody says, no, give some of the, as if we're sharing potatoes or sharing or cigarettes, just to make it, or whiskey. So we refused to share. And by refusing, we did not know that these guys were so angry with us to a point where they held a meeting and they told the management of Lenasia that the management needs to get rid of us. We did not attend their meeting. They called the second meeting, we didn't attend because we wanted the agenda so that we can prepare. And then the management of Lenasia at Ahmed Katrada sent us an SMS to say to us, even all the patients that we have admitted, we should not even touch them. It doesn't matter if the patients are waiting for us to come and operate them. They will operate on them, but we must not set our foot there again. That's how we're kicked out at Lenasia. Ahmed Katrada. Ahmed Katrada. And those are the Indians who say they are black, like us. That's what they say. They say they are black. They say they like us. We fought the struggle together, and then they kicked us out there. And then our colleagues, they are admitting patients at their hospital. They have a hospital. They have a private hospital at Tembisa. And that's where our colleagues are admitting patients there. And I'll tell you something about these people. At Lenasia, if, for instance, you wanted food, that's how they actually, the treatment that you get there if you're a doctor at Lenasia, that one I give to them. Very good. The food that you get, I'm talking food now, that's the treatment. If you want food now, it's almost like you're in a 5-star hotel. They ask you, doctor, what do you want to eat? Then you tell them, they'll give you what you want to eat. The best of the best. There's always nice food there. There I give it to them, no doubt. Then you go to this one at Tembisa Hospital. It's the same hospital. But this one at Tembisa Hospital, because it's servicing the niggers. You see, servicing niggers, the Africans. The doctors are Africans, the patients are Africans. There's no Indian there. And then the doctors there, they eat, you know, that vorse, I don't even give it to my dog. I don't know what it is. Even I don't know if they give that food to the patient. You know, it's something that I don't understand. You know? Yeah. That's how they treat black doctors. You can go and check. You see, doctors eat the same patient that is given to, the same food that is given to patients. I've got nothing against you know, I'm just explaining the situation which is true. Anybody can go and verify it. That's what the doctors eat. They eat the same food that is, you are not given a chance to choose what you want to eat today. I went to another hospital somewhere in Modderfontein, where we're doing some road accident fund patients. We're doing trauma care in there. There, they would ask you the day before when you book a list, what are you going to eat? Are you a vegetarian? Are you what? You know, halal, whatever, you know, you can tell them whatever. Then they would prepare that. That's the treatment that you get there. Why? There are white doctors there. But this one in Tembisa is another story. So I'm just showing you some of the things that make some of us very angry when we see these things. The reason why we're angry is because we fought against these things. Right from when we're young, we fought against these things. And these things, they still prevail. Today, these things are still happening. And it's disgusting, you see. Especially when it's happening to us when we're educated. How much more to people who are uneducated? You know? And we put up with all this rubbish. So it's some of these things that made me to say that we'll have to select certain hospitals. There are certain hospitals that should not do business with us. We need to cut them out. We are 78% in this country. 78%. There's no business that does not need us in this country. Black people are 78%, maybe a little bit more, a little bit less, but that's how big we are in terms of numbers. Every business needs our money. And we give our money every day to these people, and these people hate us. And they expect us to love them. You see, very sad story. And we put up with this nonsense every day. So it is on those bases that I'm saying, guys, when we manage our patients, we have to draw the lines on the sand as well. And if it means along racial lines, be it. Because people have drawn the lines understand, along racial lines. Tit for tat, butter for fat. We have nothing to lose. We have got to fight on. So now, I am saying this because we are falling back. We're coming with new tactics to saying, if we cannot have hospitals, we need to have something else. We need to hold on to something that we're strong at. And we're strong at managing patients and managing the care that the patients will be getting, managing the movements of the patient, ensuring that the patients get the service that is affordable, sustainable, and with good outcomes at the end of the day. Now, how do we do that? You do that by approaching those selected few hospitals, then we negotiate invoice discount. I've done invoice discounting for a long time. I mean, I understand it. I lost them a lot of money there on invoice discounting. I lost about 3.5 million. I understand it. So we choose the hospitals, we negotiate the rates, because the whole thing will now rely on the economies of scale. So if you're pushing the numbers, and then anybody who is reasonable, who has got business brains here is going to say, okay, fine, I understand what you're trying to do. And then you'll be able to discount. You can discount even by 30%. I was discounting hospitals by 30%. Because I was giving them patients from road accident fund. That's what I was doing. So basically what you do, you discount the beds, of course, including your theater and ICU. But there's quite a lot of strict patient selection there, because sometimes some of these things can go through the roof. But generally, what I'm trying to say, guys, is that we can still control the beds, and we can still do an upfront payment of beds and manage them as if we have our own hospitals. And most of these private hospitals, I can tell you right now, they are not full occupancy hospitals. Most of them, they are running at about 60–70% occupancy. Government hospitals are the ones that are packed, but not private hospitals. Very few that are running on full capacity. So now, with how do you generate the volumes? Our strategy is simple. We have seen that, okay, the 15% that is sitting there at the top of the pyramid, or the apex of the pyramid, those are the people with medical aids. It's fine. Let them sit there. It's okay. But we are focusing on the middle of the pyramid, and then and leaving out the base of the pyramid for the government to take care of. And we want to take care of the middle of the pyramid. There are many players there that I told you, and they got us when we're busy snoozing. Because doctors, they like snoozing, you know. I think they are too clever to outsmart their brains. That's a problem with us as doctors. Too clever to even outsmart our own brains. And other people can see this. That's why they will tell you that, no, doctors don't care about money. They don't mind. They don't need money. Doctors love their patients. That's why they say the things that they're saying. They're saying that because they can see what's snoozing. We don't know money. You see, we know our patients only. That's what they tell us. That's what they say when they talk around in the corridors. They say, doctors, leave them alone. They just worry about their patients. Now, we have spoken to the employer, and the employer is willing and ready to work with Promedical. I've told you that many times. All we have to do now is just to expand our networks, make sure that we have got a national footprint. We have got our specialists and our GPs, physiotherapists, occupational therapists, everybody on the ground. The worker, the employer is prepared to give us the workers to look after. Finish. And then the details I'll give you when you ask me, you know, in the meeting. I've spoken to a lot of companies, and they're ready. I've spoken to financial services companies. I'm a financial advisor myself. I'm at FARDA. that we've got our licenses, we've got licenses to manage these things. So FSCA is not going to come chase us on anything. Now, how does the employer work with us? We educated the employer that, listen, you cannot afford a medical aid. And they know this. They didn't even need our education. They have always been looking around for something, an alternative. And then we told them that there's something called medical savings, or what we call a prepaid. You can even call it prepaid healthcare services. You save and then you pay upfront so that in case your employees are sick, you just send them to a doctor, the doctor treats them. That's it. Simple. You don't have to be a genius. You don't need a license for that. You don't need a council for medical aid schemes for that, because it's not a medical aid. It's just medical savings. Just like somebody putting his money under the mattress and then hoping that you didn't sell any parfait or in corner. You just take it under the mattress and then you hand it over to Promedical and say, Promedical, should my family get sick, I don't want to put this money under the mattress. I want it to sit in your bank account. And then once this person is sick, please look after this one. Prepaid airtime, buy it, you go. You don't need a contract. No strings attached. Simple. Now, to make it fancy, I even spoke to financial services companies to say, okay, because they can run a trust account, they can take deposits, let them take the deposit there, just to make it nice. It look better. But that money belongs to Promedical. At the end of the day, it's going to end up in your pocket because you are the service provider. That's what I'm doing. The next thing I educated the employer on was the whole idea of vouchers. There's also another approach. Vouchers have been sold by pigs, discount. Everybody's selling vouchers. Even people who have never gone to school. They wake up in the morning and then they start doing this voucher business and start selling vouchers. And you know what they say to the patients? When you are sick, go to Dr. Mkulisi. He's going to accept my voucher because he's always hungry. Doctors don't have money. You see? And sometimes it's true. Doctors don't have money. They used to. No, not today. So now, that is how Promedical is going to work with the employer. That is how we're going to accumulate the numbers. And then once we have got these big numbers and we've got this huge amount of money, then we're able to discount the hospital beds. And then we are with our hands, we come and treat the patients. And then at the end of the day or end of whatever, end of the year, and then we count and then you say we've got our money. And those people who have operated, they have been paid and we still have a lot of money left. Then we decide whether we want to go on holiday or want to buy your Bentley or you want to buy your whiskey. It's up to you. If your liver still allows you. You see? So those are the things I'm talking about, guys. Okay. Now, to succeed in this, it's difficult. Promedical cannot succeed with about 100 doctors that are signed. We need people who are going to commit into these things. But right now, I said to you guys, we're going to sort out first our financial side before we can recruit new members. First, we need to clean up and say, okay, fine. Everybody must actually taste the money that comes from the activities of Promedical and from the we build up. But I'm suggesting that people can start registering on the database so that at least we can always prove to the employer to say, we have these numbers. The numbers are good. I don't want to say to you, I couldn't work with the numbers, but I'm just saying it becomes so much easier because if I go to KZN and I start talking to the companies in KZN and I go to Cape Town, I should be able to say, no, we've got so many doctors here. I should be able to prove it and show them the database, exactly the physical addresses of doctors, where these doctors are situated. You see? And that makes my life very, very easy. And these people, they simply say, okay, fine. Let us sign the deal. Do you want to draft it? Let's draft it, non-disclosure, non-circumvention, sign this memo, MOU, you understand, and then that's it. And then the money moves, you see. So that's the master plan, guys. And of course, the best of the best is to have our own medical aid. But the problem with the medical aid is that you need numbers. I mean, you have got to put 6,000 members. But they do give you a chance. The money is not an issue because I think it's still about 2 million. The last time I checked, I don't know if the regulation has changed, but the last time I checked, it was 2 million. But the problem is that you need to have within a period of about 3 months, you need to sign 6,000 members. They can give you an extension. But the last time I checked, they used to give, about another 3 months. And then after that, they say, look, this thing is not working. And they take your members, they put them on another medical aid. So we have done the research. We understand how to set up a medical aid. Don't tell me that it's difficult. What? Let me tell you, that's a story. Every time someone starts by saying something is difficult, it annoys me. You see, the only time something is difficult is when we have done it and then we have failed. That's the only time I would say it's difficult. But don't hear things, read things on the newspapers, because some of our colleagues, they like reading something on the newspaper and they think that is the truth, or no, it doesn't work like that. You've got to go in, push that door, kick it, go in there. If they punch you and then you have to run out of that door, then you know that it was hot. And that's the only time you can come and tell me that, yeah, it's difficult. So we need a national footprint. Now, for those people who want to register, just to register, you understand, as part of healthcare service providers, there's a number called 066-258-2262. You just save that number, then you go to the WhatsApp, and then you type hi, and then you'll get an automatic or automated response. It has got the selection option, and then you just click there, then it will give you a menu. You just go to healthcare service providers, abbreviated. It's HCSP. You click there. That's where you register. You fill up the form, and then you will receive the form. Fill that form properly. I'm telling you, this is a magic that you are going to do now. We're going to show all these people that claim that doctors know nothing, they're going to control us. We'll show them that we'll actually control the entire healthcare system. Just do that, that's all. And leave the rest to me. You see? Yes, we're moving slowly because there's a lot to be done. It's not a joke. It took us a couple of years already. We're almost running into 5 years now, having been working every day. Not a joke. So if we don't do this, I can tell you right now, if we don't do this, if we don't check up now or wake up and smell the coffee and continue snoozing the way we were snoozing, I can tell you there's something bad that is going to happen. And let me tell you what is that. Already is happening. Let me tell you what has happened. You see, the healthcare industry is full of, also, I would say, a legalized mafia. The healthcare industry is controlled by a legalized mafia everywhere. But I'm just going to focus on what I want to talk about today for your own benefit. One, there's a collusion between the administrators and the medical aid and the so-called managed care companies. All of them are crooks. All of them are crooks. The three. The person who is being robbed here is a patient and the service provider, which is a healthcare provider, a healthcare service provider, which is us, right? All these clowns, they team up, have meetings, collude against the patient and the ones who are treating the patient. And it doesn't end up there. There's also Now a collision, a new phenomenon now. In fact, I don't know if it has been going on for a long time, but it has just surfaced. It's obvious now. Collusion between the medical aid and the pharmacies. The pharmacies are now consulting. I have no issues. If they're allowed in terms of the law, it's fine. But what the medical aids are saying now to patients, they say to patients, if you don't want your day-to-day funds, if you don't want them to exhaust, please go to these pharmacies. And then, we'll pay everything. But if you go to Dr. Mkulisi or Dr. Ndlovu or Matebula or whatever, your funds are going to exhaust. And they're saying, we are abusing the medical. That's what they're saying. They're saying we're over-servicing, we're over all these things, overcharging and blah, blah, blah. So they say they must go to Clicks because Clicks consults for 100 rands, only 100 rands. There's a consulting room there. And that consulting room has got a PhD nurse, primary healthcare nurse, sitting there. And this nurse would then examine the patient, take the blood pressure, urine, hemoglucose test, temperature, you see. And then tell the patient that, oh, no, there's not much here to worry about, put a stethoscope a little bit on the chest and say, yeah, no. And they also write a prescription up to a certain schedule. And then if the patient needs something that this PhD nurse cannot write, then they call a doctor. And now, because of the virtual consultations, all these things that are happening electronically, that doctor says, what's the problem, sister? He says, no, I've got this patient, has got this. Can I send you the results? Sends the results, the readings. Says, yeah, that blood pressure is too high. This patient is going to need 1, 2, 3 for the doctor, sends a script. And then the pharmacy cashes in. The doctor, that side, claims only the consultation because he has been consulted. And then, but there's a payment arrangement. And then, of course, the nurse is paid where maybe, I don't know whether the nurse takes the 100 rands and the pharmacy, but there's a payment arrangement. But it's a split. Maybe the doctor that side gives the nurse a kickback of 100 rands because then the nurse sent the patient that side, whatever. I cannot confirm that, but there is a silly arrangement there. Now, what is the effect of that? The end result of that is that the patients then end up not going to the GPs. They end up going to these pharmacies. And these pharmacies, because predominantly these pharmacies, if you go to the suburbs, towns, and all those things, they are owned by whites. Okay. Now, those doctors that are actually linked to these pharmacies are actually white doctors. Look, I'm not a racist. I'm just saying things the way they are. Okay. And if someone says I'm a racist, no, I'm not. I've got a lot of white friends, white colleagues. My wife is a white person, so I cannot be a racist. But I'm saying this because that is exactly what is happening. Now, what happens? These patients now, they will always find themselves channeled. That's how they are managed, without even a word spoken to them as to where they're just told that if you go to Mkulise and then you don't use your fund, who wants to have benefits exhausting quickly? So they go there. The end result is that these patients end up going to the white GPs, from there to white specialists, because white GPs don't send to black specialists. And that's not racism from my side. They just don't send. They just don't do that. Maybe they can tell us why they do that. But even the worst stupid can tell you that that is racism. They are racist. That's why they do that. Or it's a question of like dissolving in like. you know. Birds of the same feather flock together. So it means basically, if like dissolves in like, that's what we must do too. So we must send to our own fellows. So it means we must start grouping ourselves and start working together and say, hey, we cannot give these people patience because they don't give us patience. At the end of the day, we're in the business of health. I'm not saying we should be pushing and pulling, patients around. No, but unfortunately, that's what is happening. You see. Now, there's something else that is happening. Besides this medical aids doing what they are doing, we have got a big problem. There's something called medical insurance. And I want you to tell me if you know any black person. The first one is the one that we registered, 2020, but it didn't take off. Promedical insurance didn't take off. We registered it, didn't take off. Well, COVID came in. As soon as we registered, COVID came, it killed it because not even one patient, or I'm not even one company wanted to absorb it. We tried. I was marketing that thing every day, company to company. They said, look, we're actually retrenching, because we can't afford. We're closed. We closed down, COVID closed us down. So how can we start buying benefits, health benefits for patients? I mean, for our workers, for their workers, because they were actually sending them home. And that was a reality, the whole of 2020. After COVID, there was load shedding. That further closed down many companies. That was a total failure of our health insurance. And yet, there are very big, well-lubricated health insurances that are white-owned, and they are flourishing. You know why they are flourishing? It's easy. Because of like dissolves in like. You see? You see. Now, what is happening is that these guys, they've structured, they've teamed up. You have got the brokers, the sales guys who are selling to the white guys who control the black life. So basically, they are exchanging money. And then there's some kickbacks that are going to some black unions, because unions are black. And the black people are hungry. They want money. You see, they don't want stories. You see, black people don't want stories. That's why they don't even want the land. We don't never hear these clowns saying black people want the black people. Generally, if you go there, people don't want the land. They want money. Even those with land, they want to sell it. So because people want money, you see. Now that is what is happening. So basically, we're being charged left, right, and center. We have nowhere to go, nowhere to run. I can tell you right now. That's what is happening. So you look at the hospitals where these patients go, the patients with this medical insurance. There was never a negotiation between these guys, the health insurance guys, with the black-owned hospitals. No. They negotiated deals with white-owned hospitals. You know why? It's because, for instance, if a patient with one patient with a medical health insurance, he goes to a black hospital, it will be very difficult. I mean, they pay a small amount of money for everything, a little bit of this, little bit of that, because they negotiate. But you cannot negotiate with one patient on your hand. You need to bring numbers to your hospital, and then you negotiate based on the numbers that you can bring. And now, what do the hospitals say? They say, look, if you have the numbers, then it makes sense to the hospital to discount. Can you see? It's going back to where I come from. It's the economies of scale. If you have got the numbers, how many members on your book. This one says it's about 200,000 members on the book. Says, please, I've got about 7 hospitals nationally. Yeah. So I can look after. So those are numbers. That is how they discount. They use numbers. Economies of scale. Power of the numbers. This is what I've been preaching for years. The power of the numbers. I said, let's come together and create the numbers that our colleagues, sometimes they think maybe I'm smoking my socks or something. You know, when I talk about these things, you see. We're losers because we do not understand the power of numbers. The only thing we like most is just bickering, you know, amongst ourselves, and we never find a way, the way to the promised land. Now, we are lucky because we are the service providers. We are the only people who know everything and anything about health. It's us, nobody else. We are the engineers of the science. We're very lucky because we're in that position where we can actually call the shots if we want to. But again, you know, if we keep playing games the way we play games, we're gonna see our backsides, and not very long. You see some of these Bentleys are gonna disappear because the lines have been drawn. Now, let me, I know I'm gonna stop now, and also I'm going to do another video on a Promedical Business Accelerator. I just wanted to connect the dots here because I promised you this video on a Promedical Business Accelerator. And please, guys, please, do not forget, oh boy, do not forget to click like on the video, just that thing. It doesn't take too long. Listen to the video, just click there. Click subscribe. Even if you don't comment, but just click subscribe. Okay. This video, especially this one and the other ones, I load them on YouTube. But like I told you, I'm going to change the way we communicate now because there's some information that is very sensitive that is going to start moving around. Right now, I'm still keeping the names away out of these videos. But click like, subscribe, share the video. Let me tell you when you do that. When you do that, there's an algorithm in YouTube. It means once a video is liked and you subscribe, you increase the number of subscribers. And once you do that, Promedical channel will start generating money. It's just easy. You just click. Don't have to think because some of us, we like thinking. Don't think, just click. You have nothing to lose. We're not taking money from your pocket. YouTube is going to pay at some point because we need about 4,000 hours of listening and then we need about 1,000 subscribers. Just subscribe, man. You have nothing to lose. I look at these videos, they are watched. I don't know, maybe people don't like them, but I'm not doing them because I just want you to see my face, you know. I mean, it's rusty face. There's nothing to look at. But the main thing is, I'm doing these videos because it's easy to communicate this way than texting. I'm giving you a lot of information. If I was texting, I wouldn't be able to give you the information because we've done a lot of things. And also in meetings, I wouldn't be able to talk to you for such a long time in meetings. Because meetings are structured in such a way that we need to finish quickly. We cannot be sitting for hours and hours. Sometimes we sit 3 hours in our meetings. And at the end of the day, you find that there's not even a lot of participation from the members. So I think by doing these videos, I'm giving people more information, more to digest, so that at least they can be able to have something to to comment on or questions to ask in the meetings or to give some ideas moving forward. Let me talk about Business Accelerator. Having touched on all these interventions that I've just mentioned to you now, the question would be, how does this idea of Business Accelerator fit in this? One, if, for instance, the funder, let's go back to the funder. That's one area I want to demonstrate to you how Business Accelerator works. Once the funder says, guys, I've built a hospital, take the hospital, operate it, and then we pay the rent. Then the next thing is that the members must buy shares. That's the first thing that we do. And those shares get funded. That's how we accelerate the business. Two, we capacitate your practice. Right? We capacitate your practice. If you are a surgeon, we have a model where we say, even now, and I mean it, even now, if, for instance, you want to improve your practice in terms of diagnostic equipment, for instance, maybe you want to buy a scope, you want to buy certain equipment, because remember, quite a number of procedures now can no longer be done in theater. They need to be done in an office. In fact, we call them office-based theaters or office-based surgery, OBS. But these days, the regulator is becoming tough. The regulator says it must be a proper office. Even the indemnity, professional indemnity, your PI, professional indemnity is not going to cover you very soon. In fact, I think MPS has already stated that should something go wrong when a medical doctor is doing a procedure in his rooms or in an unlicensed room or procedure room, unlicensed procedure room, then they are not going to pay, and then you're on your own. And then we'll pay you with your house. And with your bank, if you're finished paying it. But usually it's the house that you would have finished paying. You will pay with it. And maybe the best thing would be to quickly divorce your wife and then and go and open a Capitec account and show them that you don't have money. They'll wait for you until you have some. But anyway, you understand? So now, we accelerate business left, right, and center, meaning that once we have the hospitals running, you buy the shares. We'll discuss how many shares you can buy as an individual. Because now we're moving away from the idea of actually the cooperative owning the shares and therefore, people getting, dividends proportional to what they have actually put in. No, people need to get their money first. They need to get their money, and then we know that, okay, fine, now that you have your money, you can now buy shares with your money. It's an opportunity, and then you have got a share certificate, whether it's electronic card or paper, whatever it is, then you can tell your wife or your husband or your boyfriend to put it somewhere under the mattress in the event that something happens to you, and then they would know that at least you have got shares there. You see? Then we capacitate the practices. It's open. Even now, if you can tell me tomorrow that you want to buy particular equipment and so on, we have negotiated all those deals with the banks because it's a small amount of money. We just go to your bank and then we just apply, you get the finance. Any machine that you need, you can get it now. We have got a min cap and then you can get that. We have got a Aspire. I interviewed the CEO of Aspire the other day. We've got all those. So those facilities are there. So you can borrow the money tomorrow if you want to borrow it. Okay? It's done and dusted. So that's part and parcel of business acceleration. That's what I was talking about when I was talking about the business accelerator. Okay. Patient management. We give you tools, business tools, systems. Make sure that you know how to manage patients properly so that you don't drop the ball. Because remember, we don't want patients to go somewhere. We want We don't want patients to start going to these people who don't like us. We did nothing. We didn't do anything. They just don't like us. Maybe what we are, I don't know, but they just don't like us. They never liked us. I don't know why they don't like us. So what I'm trying to say is that we have the tools that we use in the business accelerator. We give you payment solutions, right? Payment systems. We give you IT systems. I'm going to talk about all those things at a later stage to make sure that you are managing your patients properly, the movement of patients, managing your appointments. Don't disappoint patients. You're always available even when you're sleeping because the machines are answering everything for you. That is business accelerator approach. That's what we're doing here. That we want you to make money even when you're sleeping. You see? You get what I mean? So by talking to the employer, getting the patients, we're getting these patients for you. Just because you are a member of Promedical, we are getting these patients for you. Even when you are sleeping, even when you are drinking your whiskey, we are still getting these patients for you. That's what we're doing. That's the business accelerator. Okay? The voucher systems, it's your money. The medical savings, it's your money. That's business accelerator. Okay? All you have to do is just to be on board. Just to on board, that's all. You don't have to do any magic. You see? When we set up a medical aid, you are part of it because we'll have the administration. That's how they work, these guys. Probably will be a bit different from them. We've got a strategy. I always ask the question, why the administration companies, when they make billions out of the medical aid, because they make millions out of the medical aid scheme, because the scheme is an NPO, it's a non-profit organization. They make millions out of it by charging the administration fee, which are very exorbitant. They list the private company, the administration company, the stock market. They make monies, but they don't hold anything here to the pool again to say, guys, thanks, we made some money from. Will be different. Because remember, us, we don't make money out of the shares that are listed in the stock market. That's a bonus for us. Our money comes from our hands because we've got this thing. You see, what different? We don't make money from the walls. We make money from these hands. You see, these are the ones that grab the jaw of a patient, pull it down, put a tube. You see? So we'll set up our own medical aid. We'll make money out of it. That's business acceleration. We have got our emergency medical services. We don't need to be paid by medical aids anymore. No. They've frustrated us. Department of Health came up with monstrous, that regulation there. We've got to do something about it. I'm going to tell you at a later stage, what our union is doing because we registered a union. We have got to fight these guys tooth and nail because they are all against us as healthcare professionals. Everywhere they find us. They find us in the government hospital, they want to control us. In fact, they take you from a senior position there, they push you down, and then they put a nurse above you to control you because they know a nurse can report better to the bosses. Even our clinical managers, they're shaking. CEOs, the so-called CEOs, I call them hospital managers because they are not CEOs. I can tell you what a CEO is. A CEO is a person who comes with a business plan in an organization and who can cut fired when it does not perform. Those are managers, but they are called CEOs. But even them, they're trembling. When they see politicians, the MECs, they even, actually, I know these CEOs, so-called CEOs, they even have a cell phone, dedicated cell phone for the MEC, that when this one rings, it doesn't matter what you're doing. It doesn't matter if okay, let me not use, okay. If you downing your beer, you stop it immediately. and you answer this phone. This phone does not ring 3 times. It rings twice, the MEC phone. That's how I saw them. They used to shake. I used to ask, you guys, you are shaking like this. Yeah. But anyway, I think I've explained, and now you have an idea about this animal called business accelerator. I'm going to keep explaining it so that at the end of the day, you understand what we're doing here. We're accelerating not only the business of the cooperative, but we're accelerating the business of the members. And the guys, I'm doing this because I like you. And I think even those of, I know you like me too, but even those somewhere who don't like me, you have no reason not to like me. I know there are some people, not in our groups, in some other groups, and they know themselves. I don't want to name them, but there's no reason. I'm doing this because I love this profession. I know the noble work that we're doing. This is a noble profession, but we're taking for a ride. And we're taken for a ride by clowns, to be honest with you. I'm sorry to use that word clowns, because they are really clowns. There's nobody on planet Earth who works like a medical doctor, for years, not 2 years, 3 years, 4 years in the military. Some people, they get shot on your leg and say, no, let me tell you, I'm talking working hard. Okay. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching this video. Please do not forget to subscribe. Do not forget to like the video, comment, share the video. It adds value. It's motivating. Let me know what you think of all the things that I've said. Thank you very much. See you again.